Hi guys, and welcome to Tom and Harry SMMA back on the channel. We are going to be speaking about what the ultimate SMMA disaster looks like when you work with a client. So let's get into the video. Harry, let's get into it. What is the ultimate SMMA disaster? Can I just kick off with some of the shit I see that is just
Let's try and do it from chronological order. So you sign a client. What's the processes of building this fucking mega disaster?
I see this probably, I've got to say, probably like 6 or 7 times, maybe more out of 10. I can almost predict it. When the ultimate SMMA disaster, a couple of things is one, the person has won a client and they've won a client based on complete false promises. It's the first one. So they've gone, no, I can 5x your ROAS. I can give you 100 leads a month. Yeah, I can do that.
Why is that bad?
Why is that bad? Because they don't know and they have no idea what they're talking about. Basically, even someone who's as experienced as me and experienced as you, I would never promise anything. I'll see I'll see the way it goes, see what the market's like, see what ad spend you've got. You don't know how much you're going to spend on ad spend. It could be they give you a budget of £20 a month. You ain't getting 100 leads, mate. So it's completely, they just don't know what they're talking about. So they set themselves up for an absolute fucking disaster already. Second part of that is, and I see it all too often, they're running ads from their own ad account and they are paying for the ad spend because they don't really know what they're doing and they're kind of paying for it.
Yeah.
Complete joke. Can't do that. It's not okay to do. All right.
Why is it not okay?
You do not pay for your client's ad spend and you do not run any ads off your own ad account. The client has all this. Every client who has an Instagram and Facebook page, they have their own business manager. They have their own ad account. They should, which should be linked to their own payment. They pay the platform. You manage the payment on the platform. Really simple. And those who are doing it any differently, you ain't going to last 2 seconds because me and Harry come along, sort all your shit out for you, and we take the 1,500 retainer and then we move on and get results from. Simple as that. The third thing is, what is the third thing? You're probably just doing a disaster that I see is you're just doing one ad, one Facebook opt-in form, or if you're doing e-com, just running one ad, pumping it into it, and you're expecting to see results straight away. And you've not looked at the journey, you've got no strategy. And then the other part of the disaster is you're not even communicating it to the client because you know it's fucking bad news.
Yeah,
So,
I was going to say that. So yeah, they're kind of like stepping stones of disaster. Like you say, you start with over promising and then under-delivering. That's just teeing your overall campaign up for just fucking failure because you're going to promise them the world, do all of the things badly. They're going to be disappointed instantly rather than doing it the opposite way around. Then you say incorrectly setting up all of the platforms. We come along, make sure they have their own business manager, make sure their ad accounts are set up correctly with all the payment info, verified domains, verified BM, and everything's set up good to go. But the biggest one, which you've just mentioned there, is communication by far. If you're getting a client and you're running one ad campaign, one Facebook lead form, not doing anything really for them, and then you're obviously not going to get them results if you do that. And then you sit back and don't explain what you're doing in a good enough manner to the client. It's going to be a fucking disaster for you. It's when you aren't getting them results in that initial stage, because there is that learning phase that even Tom and I go through. There's that week to 10 days where we're testing ads, we're testing the funnel, we're testing the email sequences to see what works. That's when you need to be communicating the most and in the most effective way to the client. And that's the biggest mistake people make, is they almost panic when they don't get results and try and hide from the client. They're not necessarily hide, but they'll shy away from it, where really you need to do the complete opposite and front it up. Be like, right, Tim, get on a meeting today. I want to take you through the ad platform. I want to take you through what we've been doing, and I want to explain exactly what we're seeing. And that's the only way that you need to deal with a client. If you do anything else, it's going to be a fucking disaster for you, because if it comes a point where the client is then getting in contact with you and saying, Tom, what's happening with the ads? You've fucking failed. It's like it's not whoever gets there first. It should never even get to that. You should get there before it's even a thought in their brain. But if a client ever comes to you and says, Tom, what's happening with the ads? We're spending money and I don't know what's happening. You have fucking failed. It's okay to not get them results, but it's not okay to not get results and then not talk them through what's happening. Like that is just an absolute no-go, because there's no excuse for that. There's an excuse to not getting results a lot of the time if you're doing things properly, but there's no excuse for poor communication and not caring and fronting up, you know, what's happening.
Yeah, completely agree. Disaster. I think the other part of that disaster is, as part, you know, we're talking about the ultimate SMMA disaster, is the quality of ads will just be shit. I bet you've got to look at what quality ads you're putting out there. You've got to utilize story version ads versus feed version ads. You've got to do a whole bunch of stuff, but you should learn that, you know. And I think part of the disaster is that people haven't learned what to do, and it's a fucking disaster. It's like me tarmacking someone else's drive. I wouldn't have a fucking clue what I'm doing.
No.
I'd use sand, I'd use a bit of clay. Take probably, I don't know, but like it's the same stuff. You've got to learn what you're doing, and quality of ads is everything. If you are using a funnel, a disaster is that they don't know how to do a funnel. Looks like child's done it.
Oh, mate, the biggest disaster is fucking outsourcing. We've not even mentioned that. If you sign a client and then you immediately give it to someone in a different country to manage, and you sit back and skim money off the top, fucking disaster. I don't know how this is still being taught on YouTube. I don't know how it's still being spoken about as a valid way to run a social media marketing agency, when the people that teach it don't even operate their own SMMA in that way, when they have in-house employees that do the work that they're telling you to outsource. Doesn't make fucking sense. If you're outsourcing directly from as soon as you get a client and you don't even know how to deliver the services yourself, you're gonna just, there's videos in this channel to say why it's not gonna work for you, but please don't do that. You're gonna ruin the relationship with your client. If they contact you asking for an update, you're not going to be able to instantly. You have no impact on how hard that person works, no matter how hard you vet them. It's a fucking disaster waiting to happen, and I don't know why you do it then. And people are going to say, well, what are you going to do instead? Almost act as a freelancer to start with. You need to learn the service yourself so that you can oversee the service. How can you outsource something when you don't even know what you're outsourcing? If you haven't learned that service yet, how can you look over what the person you're paying is doing and see if they're doing it correctly if you don't know your way around the Facebook ad platform, if you don't know how to troubleshoot ads? If a client gets on the phone call with you and says, well, what's happening with this ad? Why is that not working? And you're like, I don't even know what ad was up. I don't even know what I'm looking at here. They're going to be like, well, why the fuck am I spending money with you? I'm just going to go work with Tom and Harry, who are just fucking on the case.
I'd just say also one of the biggest disasters people do in the first bit, you know, the ultimate SMMA disaster is when you run ads and then you get your client's ad account banned because you've not stuck to the fucking policy. Like if you're running ads on the Meta policy, people, they have a policy and guidelines and terms and conditions. You've got to fucking stick to it. You've got to know it, at least understand what the do's and don'ts are. You can't go around saying, hey, are you wanting to get this done because you're feeling like this? You know, there's major faux pas that you can make on copy and creative, and it'd be a disaster. And I see it all the time. People go to run ads. Oh, I've had my client's ad account banned after a week. Oh, right. Well, what account are you running it from? I'm running from their BM. Fine, but they're running it from their BM. But they've got this person who's running the ad because they want to start an SMA. Has got 4 Facebook profiles, and they've had them banned, and you know, they're on their 4th one. And then they've got to prove their ID to Facebook, and Facebook have gone, oh, you know, we're going to take your advertising rights away, and you got to prove your ID. Fucking disaster. Like they need everything. You need to treat everything really, really seriously. And I think it's just a shit show. What people
it's laziness, mate. It's laziness that people start an agency and they don't want to, like you say, spend time reading the policies. They don't want to set up a business manager correctly. They don't want to set up their client's business manager correctly, because that means they've got to get on an onboarding call for an hour and make sure it's all set up, rather than just I'll do it on my ad account so we can get started straight away. Or then they don't make a sales funnel because they can't be asked. They'll just use a Facebook lead form. Therefore, the leads are shit. It's all stuff because people can't be bothered. It's cutting corners. It's just going to affect your long-term success.
It really is. And this is what we're saying. But we're saying this to you guys because we see the ultimate SMMA disasters. We see it every single day. Every day, and I'm never shocked. I always go, yeah, well, it's all you're doing, like it's all your fault. But everything from that, you know, it's just fucking nightmare. If you can avoid all that sort of stuff, then you will actually have something that's worthwhile people paying money for.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hope you enjoyed that video, guys. If you've not watched our previous video was on, Tom.
It was on I have no fucking idea, mate.
Yeah, if you've not watched our previous video, there'll be a link there. There'll be a link in the description. Give it a watch. Please, please, please make sure you subscribe. If you're interested in any mentorship with Tom and I, there's a link in the description to the Digital Culture Academy. There's a 23-minute video on there where we dive into every single video that's included, what happens after you finish the videos, where you get mentorship with Tom and I. We actually have a live academy call tonight at 6 p.m. where all of the members get on. We connect, we talk through the successes, we talk through the struggles. People share their ad accounts, people share their sales funnels, people just all come together. It's one of the best communities in SMMA. It's by far the best, actually. So give it a click in the description, give it a read, message us if you have any questions on there at all. And it'll be great to see you inside, because it's the kind of the one and only blueprint that Tom and I have seen that actually works in 2023, and it's by far the best Kickstarter for your agency. Or even if you've got a successful agency, it's going to help you scale to beyond 10, 15K a month.
People are looking to run a digital marketing agency, and a very basic one at that, which can make you a lot of money, because you can do basic versions, you can adapt and snowball it, etc. Then there's no other course like it. It's completely untouchable in my personal view, and I hand on heart believe that. So, but you know, if you want to do it, you do it. If you don't, you don't. Just go and find some free content and watch it online.
Yeah, cool. Well, hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Like I say, subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow at 6 p.m.